everyone, and today I will be starting a tutorial which will teach you how to make a basic 2-player Pong on Gamemaker. This will be a series, maybe in 3 parts, I'm not sure. So this one will just give you the basics. You can get soft look and it won't look very good, but you'll have a basics. Now, we'll be using Gamemaker 8 to make this, so I'm assuming you don't have it, so in the description of this video there will be a link to this website, and to install it you go to Windows Executable, Gamemaker Installer, install it, open it, and when you open Gamemaker it will look like this. You can just do continue using the light edition and this will pop up. So first, I want to start by making a sprite. This is just what the object will look like and also applies its hitbox. So we'll name this ball. You can guess what it will be. You go to edit sprite and then you click this button right here. You double click on it to open it and you do control and mouse wheel to zoom in. This is my favourite zoom setting. It's 1 pixel on the 32 by 32 pixels, which is the default. Applies to 1 pixel, and if you want to undo something you do Control and Z and Control and Shift Z to redo something. There's a pencil, there's an eyedropper tool, a pencil. That's a glitch that happens sometimes. It will change to eyedropper. You need to re-click on the tool you use it. Pencil, spray brush, which can also just be like that. Line, eraser, square, circle, square with rounded edges, one kind of select tool, another kind of select tool, which is a really weird one actually, a bucket tool, a text tool, and a replace color tool. So this sprite will only use one of these tools. So we want to make a ball, which we can just use this for and drag from the corner to here, but it doesn't look very good. It's just a white color. So to do that you can right click on any of these colors here to get any color. I'm going to be doing yellow for this because why not? Yellow is the best color. Controversial topic. So, and you can add some more design to it if you want, like, I'm just going to add a little pattern. Gonna look a bit like the Smash Ball from Smash Bros. Diagonal, another diagonal, another diagonal, another diagonal, another diagonal, another diagonal. You can just skip forward into the video where I do this part. It's just sort of a customization. You can do some customization too. Okay, you guessed it, another diagonal. And yet another diagonal, and we can put just a little bit of black in the center so it looks a little bit more defined. There we go. Actually, see? Oh darn it. Wait. Ah, darn it. Okay, well, that looks kind of like a Pokeball, actually, rather than a Smash Bros. Ball, but whatever. So you click the tick here, you click the other tick, and you click the tick. I recommend saving the game, so we'll call this player, 2-player Pong. Now, we will go into objects. No, actually, we need to finish creating the rest of the sprites first. Sorry. So, we will create another sprite. We will name this one Paddle. Now, the problem is, when you create an image and go into it, all of them are created 32 pixels by 32 pixels. So so that means the paddle will be the same height as the ball, which is not very good for Pong, is it? So how would you increase the size? You go to transform, resize canvas, and we can change this to 200 or 300%. I'm going to change it to 200. 200%. Now it's 2 times larger. It's 64 by 64 pixels. Now I'm going to do a paddle, and I'll make it a different colour, like green, because why not? And I'm not going to bother putting a pattern on this one. So that's the paddle. And we've got 2 more sprites to make, and one of them is an optional one. So we got the invisible wall, which is necessary. It's just a black square. That way, normally what I do is, if something is invisible, it's a black square. And this is optional. So the way Pong works is that the invisible barrier is stopping the ball from going off screen. And there's a paddle on one side of the screen and another paddle on the other side of the screen. And there's a ball and there's a score counter. And you need to stop. And you need to try and get up to 9 or whatever amount it is to win. Each time the ball gets past you, the opponent gets 1 point. So now it's completely empty apart from the invisible walls that pad on the ball. The invisible walls are only there to stop it from going out of bounds. So you know what we could do? We could add some random blocks to make it a bit more unpredictable. So this is completely optional, but if you want to do them, you can just name them wall, and you can make them another solid block of colour, but just not green. Not black, I mean. There we go. Cool. Now we're done with the objects, we're about halfway there. Now we just need to click on this blue ball here to make an object. So we will name this one ball. You can guess which sprite might line up with it. So you click here or there and you select the ball one. Now we will add an event and choose the create event. This means, and we'll drag this first icon here into the actions box. Apply the 4 diagonal arrows and put the speed, well, you can put it between 4 and 6, but I like using 4. This will make it that when the game starts, when it gets created, it will move in one of these random directions at a speed of 4. You can do left and right as well if you want, but do not do up and down. As it moves up and down, you won't be able to hit it, and it'll just be moving up and down forever, unless it hits the corner of a wall. So now we need to create the paddles. So paddle, oops, turned caps lock on. Paddle. Select a paddle, not the invisible wall sprite. Oh, you can double click on anything to edit it again. Just double click on the ball and turn it solid. And click OK. So also turn the paddle solid. Then, instead of using create, we'll use key pressed up, move up. Now it should be slightly slower than the ball, so it's still possible, or it can be the same speed, but never do it faster. So I'll put it at speed of 3, and then I can add another event, key press down at a speed of 3, moving down. This will make it when you press up, it will move up at speed of 3, and when you press down, it will move down at speed of 3. Now we need to make the invisible wall. Invisible wall. Guess what sprite it will have? And now you might be thinking, if you're not going to see it, then why bother making it? I'll show you. We'll see this a bit later why we put a sprite onto the invisible wall. You don't need to make this, it's useless. Anyway, go into invisible wall, uncheck the visible option so you can't see when you're playing the game, and check the solid option. Now we're about halfway there with the coding. So you will create another object if you're doing the wall. Name it wall. Give it the wall sprite. And make it solid. Now we'll right click on the paddle, press duplicate. We'll name it paddle 2. And so we don't want to start coding again. We're going to use W and S because WASD is commonly used as a movement system in games, and W moves you up and S moves you down. So we'll right click here, change event, key press, letters, W because it's up. That way, all the actions in there stay. And now we can do change event, S. And there's one thing I forgot to do. Sorry. So you need to do key release, letters, W, If you select the center option, it means that it won't move at all. Even if the speed is 5 or something, it won't move at all. So don't bother putting speed. And if you release the S key, it'll stop moving. Meaning that when you can just do any key, but that means when the second person is playing, they'll constantly be interfering with each other's commands. Now we do that on the first one, but with up and down. Up. And you can just right click, duplicate, key release, down. Okay. Now we need to program the collision. So we go into paddle, we add event, and we do collision event this time. And we do invisible wall. This means when it touches the invisible wall, we will move this one right here into here. Not precisely, meaning it will bounce into 8 directions. Up, down, left, right, into 4 diagonals against solid objects. Now, we won't have any non-solid objects in this, but except this one, but you don't need to have it. It's just to show you. But I recommend just keeping it for that because it is helpful. So, invisible wall, do the same on paddle 2. When colliding with invisible wall, bounce off, okay. Now we need to add the collision for the ball and then we'll be done with our programming. So we do collision, paddle, bounce off. Now we can duplicate this, do paddle 2. We can duplicate this, do invisible wall. We can duplicate this, and if you're doing the wall. And now, well, we have got nowhere to play it in. Like, sure, we've got everything, but where to play? This is where rooms come in. Now, if you want to create a background for the room so it'll look nice, you click on here. This is again another optional thing, just to make it look better. So you can click here, create a background. You can name it whatever you want, and you'll notice it doesn't ask you to make images. That's because the images in sprites are actually used to animate them. Backgrounds can't be animated. So, you make whatever you want. I think I'm just going to do a basic sun. So if you want to do that, choose the largest size, choose yellow, click in the corner, you got a sun. Now put the size back to 1 and you can put some sunshine. And now you can change the colour to green, put green here or here better. And you can change the colour to blue and change the colour to green. So it's very basic, but it works. So that's optional. You don't have to make a background. So we click on this whiteboard thing, this blank slate. Create a room. So this is what it looks like at the moment. There's nothing in it at all. You can untick the delete underline object box as it just is nuisance of this thing. So you put paddle 2 on one side of the screen, it doesn't really matter, though I recommend the left side. Paddle on the right side of the screen or the opposite side. Make sure they start in the same area. Put the ball somewhere in the center. And now we need to do the invisible walls, which will be tiresome clicking through that. Well, if you hold left click and you hold shift and move the mouse, voila. You can do it out of bounds as well. It will look better if you drag each one individually out of bounds, as they do still stay there, but it takes forever. So that's completely optional, and I'm not going to do it here. Then, if you've got any walls, add them around randomly, not too many. And now here's the reason why we add a sprite for the invisible wall. This is what it looks like when it doesn't have a sprite. Look how tiny it is, and sometimes collision doesn't work properly. It's literally a quarter the size of one of the normal walls. So I can delete that since it's completely useless. Also, most game creating softwares, when they don't find a sprite or a model, they crash because they're not sure what to do. Gamemaker is special in this way, in the case that it doesn't crash. It just puts that texture there. Anyway, we don't need that. So now, you want to apply your background. you can also put Pong here in the settings if you want. You can increase the size of the room from here. Like you see, it's slightly larger, but I'm just going to keep with the default size. So if you just want one solid color, you can click here, color, and you can change the color to whatever you want. Look at that! Wow, great. Yeah, that's the same pink color. Or if you did multiple colors, you can choose here to your background. Oh no, it looks horrible. Well, there's a way to fix that. You click the stretch box in, it stretches it so it fits, since the background is always very smaller than the room. If you look, the room is 640 by 480, and the background is 64 by 64, so only double the size of the sprite, as you can see here, considering that's one sprite for maximum size normally. Anyway, you go to stretch, and now that everything's set up, how do we play our game? We go to run normally, or to that, or you can just press F5 on your keyboard. It'll close, and then it'll open. So, you'll notice it's tiny. You press F4 to make it large. So, everything works. Both the paddles move. They can't go out of bounds. I did say that there were a few bad things, but you can just rebound off there. So, it does get soft locked. And once the ball goes out, that's the reason why I don't place too many balls. Once the ball goes out of bounds, you can't get it back. But that'll be in the next tutorial. Bye bye. Hope it helped.